That would be quite a satisfying thing to do. Once we know it's efficacious, that it works, once we know that it's safe. Now, I have talked about this before, and I've been criticised quite a bit for it, but I'm going to talk about it, I think, maybe one more time until some more hard evidence comes along. The origins of this virus. Now, it is interesting. Now, we know that Donald the other day said that he's seen evidence that this virus arose in a lab in China. Okay? But now Mike Pompeo is saying there's enormous evidence that the coronavirus pandemic originated in a laboratory in Wuhan, China. Now, let's be quite clear. No one is saying this virus is a synthesized virus. Now, no one will admit this, but you and me, I think, know that governments around the world have made viruses for the purposes of biological warfare to use in defence. Let's hope no one ever uses it in offence. Well, let's hope no one ever uses it. But what is quite possible to do, it's quite possible to take a virus which is quite deadly, like Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus, the MERS virus, or a virus which is quite deadly like Ebola, and take the killing part of that virus out and mix that with the part of the virus that makes other viruses transmissible, such as the common cold or measles, very transmissible viruses, and put those together. So in this world there exists viruses contained within biological warfare laboratories, and this is not conspiracy theory. This is pretty well agreed science. There's viruses that are absolutely deadly and highly transmissible. Let's hope they never get out of those laboratories. So we're not talking about that kind of virus. Make it clear, we're not talking about a synthesized warfare virus. The intelligence authorities say there's no evidence for that. But what I believe is quite possible, and this seems to be the evidence that Mike and Donald and others are talking about, and I'll give you more evidence for this in a minute, that the Chinese were experimenting on a virus in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and someone just happened to catch it. One of the workers caught it, and that could have got it out into the community. That could have been it. So that could well be what was happening. Now, so there's that evidence there. Now, there is an emerging viruses group in Wuhan in the Institute of Virology. So this emerging viruses group does exist. It is there. That's a documented fact. Now, MI6 is Military Intelligence 6. These are the intelligence people in my country. And they are saying now, or they're reputed to have said, and this comes from a source I'll tell you about in a minute, that in the first wave in China, the actual cases were 4 times higher than the Chinese were admitting to. Now, this is massively significant. This means the Chinese data has probably been wrong all the way through. And I really am trying hard to contain my rage at this because I don't want to be emotional on these videos. But the intelligence services believe that the Chinese were underreporting. In other words, to put it another way, they were reporting 25% of the real numbers. At the start of a global pandemic, when information was everything, when facts were absolutely vital, the numbers were being underreported by a factor of 2.5. Now, this is from an Australian newspaper source. Despite evidence of human-to-human transmission from early December, the Chinese authorities denied this till the 20th of January. Now, this comes apparently from, again, leaked intelligence sources. Now, I can't verify it, but this is not conspiracy theory stuff. This seems to be the case now. So this Australian news source is saying that the intelligence agencies now know that the Chinese authorities knew that there was person-to-person transmission in early December. Now, if that is verified and that is the case, well, I'm not going to comment on that. It's just if that's the case, it is outrageous beyond description. And they admitted it was person-to-person transmission on the 20th of January. So more to come on that, I fear. And the really serious point on this is it actually makes me quite nervous. If the evidence for this is there, then that's going to create international tensions. Of that there is no doubt. It's a pity, in my view, that there was not meticulous transparency from the beginning. Now, I have got lots of interesting developments in countries to tell you about today, but I think it's going to be really useful because we've been doing this for a long time now, and we kind of lose the... sometimes it's hard to see the wood for the tree. So what I'm going to do